Hey guys, it's Slashum, also known as my Death Knight Asketed. I play Horde side on the Mankrik server, and I'm the blood tank for the Guild Warning. I make video guides for Wrath of the Lich King Classic to help you achieve your goals in game. If you're interested in more guides and content, please help me out by subscribing to this channel, and you can also watch me stream live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Slashum. This guide's for any level 70 Death Knight interested in their solo options for leveling from 70 to 80 in Wrath of the Lich King Classic. It will cover pre-questing, questing, AoE grinding, and solo dungeons, and the talents you'll want to use for those. I will be releasing a more detailed leveling guide soon that will include other group options like dungeon cleaving and also what my plan is for leveling during launch, so be on the lookout for that. Let's get started. You have a lot of options with pre-questing, from everything from ignoring it completely to getting mages to port you all over Outland to turn in quests with a full quest log and a bag full of quest drops. I know some people who are just going to do the easy island and chat dailies, then you could do everything on Take Note spreadsheet. But Shakara made a nice rundown of a combination of quests that will get you 38% of the way to 71, and it doesn't seem too difficult to pull off. Of course, all of this is optional. As far as questing goes, the efficiency of questing is determined by a couple things, and only one of them is under your control. One is your personal questing speed, and two is the level of competition on your server. You know that thing we hate? If you enjoy leveling and you're a fast leveler, then you might want to try following a leveling guide. You can use the Rested XP add-on and guides. If you do want a quest, there is a link in the description below for the Rested XP add-on. But if you are on a highly populated server, you may want to look at other options. No matter what you choose, if you can get a little bit ahead of the curve, you can always jump out of the starter zones around level 73 and head to Dragonblight. Here are some good talents and glyphs for questing. For Blood, you'll end up with 47, 13, 11. I would definitely start in the Blood tree and then go into the Unholy to get the good things like Death and Decay and Corpse Explosion, and then you can finish off with the final 13 points in the Frost tree. For glyphs, you'll want to use Glyph of Death and Decay, Glyph of Disease, and Glyph of Death Grip. I would use Glyph of Death and Decay and Glyph of Disease first before getting Glyph of Death Grip. For minor glyphs, Glyph of Pestilence, Glyph of Corpse Explosion, and Glyph of Blood Tap. For questing as a Frost spec, you're going to start with 61 points in Frost, and then move into a sub-Blood spec, picking up Subversion and Butchery and Bladed Armor as you get to 80. For glyphs, you'll have Glyph of Disease and Glyph of Icy Touch for your major glyphs, and for minor glyphs, you'll have Glyph of Pestilence, Glyph of Raised Dead, and Glyph of Blood Tap. For your Unholy leveling spec, you'll start with 58 in Unholy and 3 in Blood. From there, you'll fill out Butchery, Bladed Armor, and then lastly Dark Conviction. For glyphs, you'll want to be running Glyph of the Ghoul, Glyph of Icy Touch, and for minors, you want to use Glyph of Raised Dead, Glyph of Pestilence, and Glyph of Blood Tap. Another good option is AoE grinding. Once you hit level 71, you do have some open world grinding options for leveling. Most of them involve a Frost spec and what's known as Chillblains kiting. This strategy consists of using our diseases to keep packs of mobs slowed while rotting them with Death and Decays and big Howling Blast crits. Hungry and Cold can also be used to stun the big pack to allow time for cooldowns or to create distance. While not mandatory, the Glyph of Howling Blast makes this a lot easier, so find an Inscriptionist friend to give you one as soon as possible. This does require Northrend research, so it is not available until after the Wrath launch. The other thing that can be helpful are Swiftness potions. The first spot is in Dragonblight. Starting at level 71 through 73, you can farm the ghouls at Galakron's Rest. They spawn in these locations and repop about once per minute. This will net you about 700,000 XP per hour. The second spot is in Grizzly Hills. Starting at level 73 through 75, you can farm the horses around the Westfall Brigade encampment and the Rune Battle Golems shown at these locations on the map. This will net you about 500,000 XP per hour. The third spot is in Sholazar Basin. From level 73 to 76, you can farm at Swindle Grin's Dig, which is right here on the map. There's a large group of melee mobs with a fast respawn rate. This will also net you about 500,000 XP per hour. And finally, in Iceground, you can get 700,000 XP per hour by AoEing the large amount of mobs in the open right here. You can start this at level 78 all the way to 80. You'll focus the Banner Bearers first with a rotation of Icy Touch, Plague Strike, and Pestilence, then use Death and Decay, Blood Boil, and Corpse Explosion for damage, and Death Strike to heal. Here are the talents for the Chillblains kiting spec, and here are the talents and glyphs for the Unholy spec. If you're starting at 78, you can drop the Point and Bladed Armor and Gargoyle. Links to both of these specs will be in the description below. Huge shout out to Tcan for developing these grind spots. Show him some love and check out his channel to see how he does these pulls. More than 97% of you are not subscribers, so if you like these guides and they've helped you achieve your goals in game, please hit the sub button. It does help me to grow my channel and to help keep the guides coming. For soloing dungeons, you have two main options, TBC dungeons and Northrend dungeons. For Northrend dungeons, you have Utgard Keep and Howling Fjord, and Nexus and Breen Tundra. I don't recommend soloing either of these due to the strategies involved and the new dungeon anti-boosting mechanics that Blizzard has implemented, but they are an option. For Utgard Keep, you could try face tanking, but the main solo strategy for this is a frost kiting strat using swiftness potions. The Chillblains kiting strat will likely not work due to the anti-boosting dungeon changes I just mentioned. It's a lot of effort for 700,000 XP per hour, and we can do better with our TBC options. You basically clear the dragon room and then go reset. For Nexus, there are claims of 1.2 million XP per hour, killing 25 mobs in 13 minutes, but there is very little info on this, but it is an option if you want to try it. You could try to solo Ahn'kahet, better known as Old Kingdom, starting at 73, but this is probably better reserved for prot warriors, but they are clearing this at a rate of 850,000 XP per hour. Ours would likely be much slower. For TBC dungeons, there are three main options, Set the Calls, Botanica, and Steam Vaults. For a full clear of Set the Calls, you can hit upwards of 700,000 XP per hour, basically kill everything. You can skip double profit packs if you want. A couple tips for Sethek: be sure to nuke the time lost controllers. They will drop a totem that MCs you, and this will greatly reduce your time and XP per hour. You can also AMS the Thunderclap from the guards. It slows you down and it's pretty annoying. Also be sure to kill or interrupt prophets since they fear, and if there's a Talon Lord in the group, pop IBF so they can't stun you. Or you might get wombo comboed with a stun fear, and those CC chains with ghosts out can lead to wipes. Speaking of ghosts, don't forget about these guys. They move slow, so just kite away. Steam Vaults can bring in 850,000 XP per hour. Atarasu has been perfecting this farm and did a lot of testing. Basically clear out all the trash except for Boglors, and you can kill nearly 100 mobs in under 17 minutes. Tidal Surgers are immune to frost, but just nuke them down with your other spells and abilities. Siren's Fear, so prio those and interrupt when you can. Oracles do have a silence, so watch out for that. It can be a wombo combo if you get silenced and can't stop the fear from a siren. Prio the engineers over the warriors. Botanica is likely the most difficult and most effective TBC dungeon for leveling. Farmerino hit 932,000 XP per hour, and Nuke has been pushing over 875k per hour. The route is basically killing all the trash up to and including Laj's room, that's the plant, skip all the bosses. I did hear it's fast to skip the Satyr packs in front of the third boss, Thorngrin the Tender. A few tips: Bloodwater Menders have a heal, so be sure to interrupt that. Gene Splicers drop a death and decay of their own, so watch out for that. There is a lot of spell damage in bot, so Flask of Chromatic Wonder is a nice consume for this place. Check out Nuke if you're interested in the bot farm. He is doing a ton of testing right now. TBC dungeons, especially bot and Steam Vaults, should keep their experience per hour rates pretty consistent all the way to level 73. At that point, you can keep going if you like the XP per hour, or move to some of the other options in Wrath, including group content. For talents and glyphs, we go with the Blood build, and if you can get your hands on Glyph of Death and Decay, I would definitely use it. If not, Icy Touch and Death Strike is perfectly fine. This is the version I ran, but feel free to experiment. The rotation is pretty standard: throw up diseases, keep them up with Pestilence, Heartstrike and Runestrike everything down, and you can always open with a Death and Decay, especially if you have the glyph. But most of the time I was using my runes on Death Strikes and Hard Strikes. Adjust your gear based on how the damage feels. If you're sitting at full HP, put on more DPS pieces, and if you're getting chunked, put on more tanking pieces, or just use whatever you got and slow the pace. I've got more guides coming out before the launch, and I'm planning on a big premiere for launch day and lots more content to come. Thank you so much for watching, and